Have you ever wondered what the story behind Rakshabandhan is? Why is it that every year so many women go crazy looking for the perfect man for their brother? Well, as you might already guess, there are many stories in the Indian history that mention about this festival, each with a similar morals but different context. Here's a compilation of most renowned stories behind the grand festival of Rakhi. In all probability, the most popular story in Indian mythology is that of Lord Krishna and Draupadi, the wife of the five Pandavas. The story goes on Makar Sankranti. Krishna cuts his little finger when handling sugarcane. His queen, Rukmani, immediately sent an official to get bandages. Meanwhile, Draupadi, who was watching the entire incident, cut off a little bit of her sari and tied his finger with it to stop bleeding. In return, Krishna promised to help her out when required. That is the story behind the help Krishna provides during the unceremonious disrobing of Draupadi. Krishna came and made her sari never ending, saving her the embarrassment by giving her protection when she needed it the most. Another famous version of the history of Rakhi is of Rani Karnavati and Emperor Humayun. Karnavati was the official of Mewar. After the death of her husband Rana Sanga, she ruled in the name of her elder son Vikramajit. Bahadur Shah of Gujarat attacked Mewar for the second time. He had defeated Vikramajit earlier. The queen began looking for the support from other kingdoms. Initially apprehensive, the nobles finally agreed to take on Shah. In the meanwhile, Karnavati also wrote to Humayun for help. She sent him a Rakhi and sought for protection. Fascinatingly, Humayun's father, Babur, had defeated Rana Sanga when he led an amalgamation of Rajput armies against him in 1527. The Mughal emperor was in the middle of another military campaign when he received the call for help. Abandoning it, he turned his attention to Mewar. Unfortunately, he never made it on time as the Rajput army was defeated in Chittor. But the queen had already set herself on fire to avoid the indignity of falling in the hands of Bahadur Shah. Shah, however, could not go any further and had to turn away from Chittor as Mughal military reinforcements arrived soon after. Humayun then restored the kingdom to Karnavati's son Vikramajit. According to another legend, the ritual of Rakshabandhan was followed by Yam, the lord of death, and Yamuna, the river that flows in India. The story goes that when Yamuna tied a Rakhi to Yam, the lord of death granted her immortality, and so moved he was by the gesture, he is said to have declared that any brother who has tied a Rakhi and offered to protect his sister would also become immortal. This take on the festival of Rakhi is a version of the birth of Santoshi Ma, popularized by the film Jai Santoshima. On an auspicious day, Lord Ganesha's sister Manasa visits him to tie him a Rakhi. On seeing this, Ganesha's son began insisting on having a sister. Giving in to their demands, Ganesha creates goddess Santoshi from the divine flames that are said to have emerged from his concerns of Riddhi and Siddhi. As part of a promise, Lord Vishnu had been protecting his devotee and the demon king Bali, disguising himself as his doorman. Back in Vaikuntha, the abode of Vishnu, his consort Lakshmi has been missing him. Disguising herself as a woman seeking a shelter to live in since her husband has been away. She approaches Bali. The generous king opens the door for his palaces for the lady. As Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity, enters the household, Bali begins to prosper. On the full moon day of the holy month of Shravan, Lakshmi ties a thread of colored cotton on Bali's wrist and wishes for protection and happiness. Bali asks her what she desires and promises to fulfill it. Lakshmi simply points to the gatekeeper who now reveals his real identity. The goddess follows suit. Bali keeps his promise as he requests Vishnu to return to his home with his consort. In return, Vishnu promises to return and be with Bali for 4 months of each year.